Section 1. God has already placed something in you. There are things God has already placed within you, not outside of you, not far away, but inside, quietly, deeply. Ideas that keep returning, visions that stay with you over time, convictions that do not easily fade, directions that feel clear even when everything else feels uncertain. And sometimes you may wonder where they came from, why they matter, why they have stayed with you for so long. But these are not random thoughts. They are not coincidences. They are seeds, placed intentionally, given purposefully. Because God does not reveal purpose without intention. He does not place something in your heart without already knowing where it can lead, without already seeing what it can become. What you feel, what you sense, what continues to return to your mind has meaning. Even if it is not fully clear yet, even if you do not yet understand how it will unfold. Because when God plants something, He has already considered the path. He has already seen what is required. He has already prepared what is needed along the way. You may not see it yet. You may not understand every step. But the one who placed it in you does. And that matters. Because it means you are not starting from nothing. You are responding to something that has already begun. Tonight, if you have been questioning what is in your heart, pause. Do not dismiss it too quickly. Do not overlook it because it feels uncertain. Because what God has placed in you is not without purpose. It is not without direction. And it is not without a path, even if you cannot yet see it clearly. Trust what has been planted, because the one who placed it there is also the one who will guide it to grow. Section 2. The plan exists before the action. When God gives vision, He already knows the outcome. He does not reveal what is uncertain to Him. He does not place something in your heart and then begin to figure out how it will work. The plan already exists, fully, completely, known by Him before you ever take the first step. And this changes how you see your role. Because you are not creating the plan, you are stepping into it. You are not starting from nothing. You are responding to something that has already been established in God's mind. He has already made the way. Not always in ways you can immediately see, not always in ways that feel clear, but the path exists. The provision exists. The timing exists. All of it is already known by Him. And your role is to bring it into the physical, to move, to act, to build with what has been placed in your hands. Because vision is not meant to remain internal. It is meant to be expressed, lived out, formed through your obedience. Faith is not waiting for everything to appear fully formed. It is not waiting until every detail is visible. It is not waiting until you feel completely ready. Faith is movement. It is stepping forward with what has been revealed. Even if it feels small, even if it feels incomplete, even if it feels uncertain, because each step reveals the next. Each act of obedience unfolds more of the plan. And over time, what was once internal becomes visible. What was once a seed becomes something real. Tonight, if you have been waiting for everything to make sense, pause. You may not be called to understand everything right now. You may be called to move with what you already know, to take the step that is in front of you, to act on what has been revealed. Because the plan does not begin when you act. It began when God placed it in your heart. You are simply walking into it, step by step, trusting that what has been revealed is enough for now. Section 3. Why many miss their breakthrough. Many people pray for breakthrough. They ask God for change, for movement, for opportunity, for something new to happen in their lives. And God responds, but not always in the way they expect, not always with something dramatic, not always with a sudden shift that is impossible to miss. Often, his response is quieter, more subtle. He gives ideas, thoughts that come repeatedly, opportunities, doors that begin to open, instructions, a sense of what to do next, direction, a clear step placed before you. But because it does not look dramatic, it is easy to overlook. It does not feel like a breakthrough. It feels simple. It feels ordinary. And because of that, people hesitate. They wait. They question what they have received. They wonder if it is really from God. They look for something bigger, something clearer, something more obvious. And while they are waiting, the opportunity passes. Because breakthrough does not always come as a moment. Sometimes it comes as a responsibility, something you are meant to carry, something you are meant to build, something that requires your involvement, your action, your obedience. God provides the direction, but you respond with movement. And in that movement, breakthrough begins. Not instantly, but gradually. As you step forward, as you act on what has been given, as you take responsibility for what is in front of you. Tonight, if you have been waiting for something obvious, pause. Look again. What has God already placed in front of you? What idea has been returning? What opportunity has been available? What step have you been hesitating to take? Because your breakthrough may not be something you are waiting for. It may be something you have already been given. And your next step is to respond, to move, to act, to build. Because breakthrough often begins when you take responsibility for what God has placed in your hands. Section 4. Faith without works is dead. Scripture gives us a direct truth. Faith, if it hath not works, is dead. James 2:17. This is not a harsh statement, it is a clarifying one, because it reveals what faith is meant to look like. Faith is not just belief. It is not only what you say. It is not only what you feel. Faith is movement. It is expressed through action. You can pray, and prayer matters. You can believe, and belief is important. You can declare, and your words have power. But if there is no action, nothing changes. Because faith was never meant to remain internal. It was meant to be lived out, to move from your heart into your actions, to shape what you do, to influence how you respond. Real faith produces action, not perfect action, not immediate perfection, but movement, a step forward, a response to what God has revealed. When God speaks, faith responds. When God shows you something, faith moves toward it. Even if the step feels small, even if it feels uncertain, even if it requires courage. Because action is the evidence of belief. It shows that what you believe is real to you, that you trust what God has said, that you are willing to move based on that trust. Tonight, if you have been believing but not moving, pause. Ask yourself, what step has God shown me that I have not yet taken? What action have I been delaying? Because the shift you are waiting for may not come through more waiting. It may come through movement, through obedience, through action, even in small ways. Because faith comes alive when it is expressed, when it is lived, when it moves. So take the step, respond to what you know, and allow your faith to become active. Section 5. Your actions reveal your faith. Faith does not stay hidden, it becomes visible, not only in what you say, but in how you live. If your faith is strong, it will show. Not perfectly, not in a way that draws attention to yourself, but in a way that is consistent, noticeable, real. It will show in how you move, the decisions you make, the direction you choose, the steps you are willing to take. It will show in how you speak, the words you choose, the way you respond in difficult moments, the truth you hold on to even when circumstances feel uncertain. It will show in how you decide, whether you act in fear or in trust, whether you hesitate or step forward in obedience. Faith shapes your behavior, quietly, steadily, over time. People may not always hear your beliefs, but they will see your actions. They will see it in your consistency, showing up even when it is difficult, remaining steady even when things feel uncertain. They will see it in your discipline, the choices you make daily, the commitment you maintain even when no one is watching. They will see it in your confidence, not confidence in yourself alone, but a deeper assurance, a calm trust that God is leading you, that what you are doing has purpose. Because faith is not just something you hold internally, it is something that shapes your life externally. It becomes visible through action, through movement, through the way you live. Tonight, if you want to understand your faith more clearly, Look at your actions. Look at your patterns. Look at your decisions. Because your actions reveal what you truly believe. And when your faith and your actions align, something powerful happens. Your life becomes a reflection of what you trust. So live it. Move with it. Let your faith be seen through how you live. Section 6. Walk like it is already done. Imagine this. You were promised millions of pounds tomorrow. Not uncertain, not maybe, but guaranteed, certain. Your mindset would shift instantly. Before anything actually changed in your situation, something inside you would change. You would think differently. The pressure of today would feel lighter. The worries that once felt heavy would lose their grip. You would move differently, more confident, more relaxed, more assured in your decisions. You would carry yourself differently, not stressed, not anxious, but steady, because you know what is coming. Even though you do not have it in your hands yet, you trust that it is already on the way, and that certainty changes everything. This is the posture God calls you to walk in, not based on what you see, not based on what you currently have, but based on what He has spoken. To walk with assurance, a quiet confidence that does not need constant proof. To walk with confidence, not in your own strength, but in God's promise. To walk with expectation, not hoping vaguely, but trusting that what God has said will come to pass. This does not mean ignoring reality. It means not being limited by it, because faith allows you to move before everything is visible, to trust before everything is complete, to act as though what God has spoken is already established. Tonight, if you have been walking with uncertainty, pause. What has God already placed in your heart? What has He already shown you? What has He already promised? Because if it is from Him, you can trust it. You can move with it. You can carry yourself with a different posture. Not anxious, not hesitant, but steady, because you know what is coming. So walk like it is already done, not in pride, but in faith, because what God has spoken is already certain, even if you have not yet seen it. Section 7. Identity changes. Action. When your identity shifts, your behavior follows. Not by force, not by pressure, but naturally. Because how you see yourself affects how you move, how you decide, how you respond to opportunities. If your identity is uncertain, your actions will reflect that. You hesitate. You overthink. You second-guess what you feel has been placed in you. You wait for confirmation, for approval, for someone else to validate what you already sense. But when your identity becomes clear, everything begins to change. If you truly believe God is leading you, you stop hesitating the same way. Not because you have all the answers, but because you trust the one guiding you. You stop overthinking every step, not because you are careless, but because you are anchored in something deeper than your own understanding. You stop waiting for permission, because you recognize that what God has placed in you is already your direction. And you begin to move as someone who knows God is backing them. Not visibly, not loudly, but with a quiet certainty, a steady confidence, a calm boldness that does not need constant reassurance. because your identity is no longer rooted in doubt. It is rooted in who God is and what He has spoken. Confidence in God creates boldness in action. Not reckless action, not rushed movement, but intentional steps, clear decisions, consistent progress. Because you are not trying to figure everything out on your own, you are responding to what has already been revealed. Tonight, if you have been holding back, pause. Ask yourself, how do I truly see myself in this moment? Am I moving as someone uncertain or as someone who is being led by God? Because when your identity aligns with truth, your actions will follow. Naturally, steadily, confidently. So step forward, not because you feel ready, but because you know who is leading you. And that is enough. Section 8. God commands work. God does not only say, believe. He does not only call you to think differently, to hope, to trust internally. He also says, move, build, work, act, because faith was never meant to remain passive. It was meant to be expressed through what you do. Even in Scripture, God's instruction is clear. Be strong and work. Haggai 2:4. Not just be strong, not just feel encouraged, but work. Take action. Engage with what has been given to you. Because strength is not only internal. It is demonstrated through movement, through consistency, through effort. God provides the vision. He places the idea, the direction, the sense of what needs to be done. But you provide the obedience, the response, the willingness to act on what He has revealed. And this partnership is important, because faith and effort are not separate. They work together. Faith gives you direction. Effort brings it into reality. Faith tells you what is possible. Effort moves you toward it. Faith assures you that God is with you. Effort demonstrates that you trust Him. Tonight, if you have been believing but not building, pause. What has God already shown you to do? What step have you been delaying? What action is in front of you right now? Because the instruction is not only to believe, it is to move, to work, to build with what has been placed in your hands. Even if it feels small, even if it feels incomplete, even if it requires effort. Because when you begin to act, something shifts. What was once internal becomes visible. What was once a vision begins to take form. So be strong and work, not in your own strength alone, but with the confidence that God is with you in what you are building. Section 9. Stop waiting, start moving. You do not need everything figured out. You do not need every detail to be clear. You do not need a perfect plan before you begin. What you need is to start. Because waiting for complete clarity can keep you still. It can make you feel like you are being careful, when in reality, you are delaying movement. But progress does not begin with full understanding. It begins with a step. Take the first step. Even if it feels small, even if it feels simple, even if it feels like it might not be enough. Then take the next, and the next. Because movement creates momentum, and momentum reveals direction. Clarity often comes after movement begins, not before. As you step forward, things begin to make more sense. You begin to see what you could not see while standing still. You begin to understand what you could not understand while waiting. Because God does not always reveal the entire path at once. He reveals it as you walk. He guides those who are already moving, not perfectly, not confidently every moment, but willing to take the step in front of them. Tonight, if you have been waiting, pause. Ask yourself, what is one step I can take right now? Not everything, just one step. Because that step is enough to begin. And as you move, God will guide you. Not all at once, but step by step. So stop waiting for everything to be clear and start moving with what you already know, because the path becomes visible as you walk it. Section 10. Reflection. What has God told you to do? Take a quiet moment and ask yourself honestly, what has God already told me to do? Not what you are still waiting to hear, but what you have already sensed, already known, already felt within your heart. What idea has been returning again and again? Something that has not left you, something that continues to come back even when you try to move past it. What instruction have you ignored? Not intentionally, but quietly, delayed, pushed aside, because it felt difficult, because it required effort, because it felt uncertain. Where have you been waiting instead of moving? Waiting for clarity, waiting for confidence, waiting for the right time, waiting for everything to feel aligned. But deep down, you already know what the next step is. As you reflect, do not feel pressure. Do not feel condemnation. Just become aware, because awareness creates direction. Now bring it before God, not to ask for something new, not to ask for more confirmation, but to acknowledge what has already been revealed and ask for something different. Courage. Courage to act. Courage to move. Courage to take the step you have been delaying. Because often, the barrier is not lack of direction, it is hesitation, fear, uncertainty. But God is able to strengthen you, to steady you, to help you move forward with what you already know. Tonight, be honest, be clear, be willing, because the next step in your journey may already be in front of you, and all that remains is your response. Section 11. Closing Prayer. Father, thank you for the vision you have placed in us, not by accident, not without purpose, but intentionally, with direction, with meaning. And tonight, we acknowledge what you have already placed within us, the ideas, the convictions, the steps you have shown us. Lord, give us the courage to act, not later, not when everything feels perfect, but now, with what we have, with what we know. Remove hesitation, the delays, the second-guessing, the overthinking that keeps us still. Remove fear, the fear of failure, the fear of being wrong, the fear of stepping forward without seeing everything. Remove doubt, the thoughts that make us question what you have already placed in our hearts. Align our actions with our faith, Let what we believe become visible in how we move. Let our trust in you be reflected in our obedience. Help us move with confidence, not confidence in ourselves alone, but confidence in you, knowing you have already made the way, even if we cannot fully see it yet, even if we do not yet understand every step. And as we step forward, remind us of this truth, that obedience unlocks what you have prepared, that movement reveals what is ahead, that action aligns us with your plan. So tonight, we choose to move. We choose to act. We choose to trust. And we place every step into your hands. Lead us, guide us, strengthen us, as we walk forward in what you have already begun. Amen.